All right. Good morning, church family. This is your pastor coming to you again with another midweek encouragement. And this week I wanted to do something different, which is I wanted to follow up with something that Henry said on Sunday. So I wasn't with you Sunday, and so I didn't get the chance to preach. But Henry did. And Henry shared something that has just stuck with me through I don't know, what has this been, 3 or 4 days? And it's been something I've been thinking about ever since he mentioned it. But we've been the last couple Sundays talking about the idea of identity, right? That part of the Christian calling, part of the calling of Christ on our life is that we submit our identity to Jesus. And Henry mentioned that part of that surrendering our identity affects the care that we provide to others, that sometimes our identity gets in the way, even if it's unconsciously, of caring for others, because these other people who God has called us to take care of might be a part of this other crowd, and I identify with this crowd. My identity is with this crowd, and I don't want to be identified as one of those guys. So part of surrendering our identity to Jesus, and our primary identity being as a Christ follower, is that we also surrender to Jesus the people to whom we minister to, right? Because our prior identities might not allow us, might prevent us, might get in the way of us ministering to people that God, in fact, has called us to minister to, because they have a different identity. They have the opposing identity, whereas Jesus, when our identity is given to Christ, calls us to minister to everyone. So I've been thinking about Hebrews chapter 11 this week, in a way in which I've never thought about it before, and I just wanted to share this with you. So Hebrews 11 is known as the Hall of Faith, and it goes through this list of people who, even all the way back to the Old Testament, were justified by their faith, not by the works that they did. Noah, Abraham, Enoch, Moses. It goes through this list of all these incredible Old Testament saints and the faith that they had and what they did. And part of what's so amazing about all of these people to me is that I'll use the term I heard someone else use, they surrendered the outcome, right? They took a step before there was any evidence that the destination that they were hoping for and praying for was going to be a reality. Noah began to build the ark when it was still sunshine, before there was any drop of rain, and incredible risk there, of course, because if it doesn't rain, Noah's left with this huge, huge boat as a testament to his stupidity, right? This man trusted in the Lord, and the Lord failed him. And Abraham, there's one phrase that the writer of Hebrews uses in connection to Abraham that was amazing to me. And I've read it before, and you may have too. But it says, by faith, this is verse 8 of Hebrews 11, by faith, Abraham obeyed the call to go out to a land destined for himself and his heirs, and left his home, here's the phrase, without knowing where he was to go. He left his home without knowing where he was to go. That's faith, right? Where God says, go to a land that I will show you. Go to a land that I promise you. Where are we going, God? Just go. That's all I'm telling you right now. Right now, the mission is to go, and go in this direction. And so Abraham went. He left his home. He left his home, not knowing where he was going. Now that's faith. That's faith. And that applies just as much to you and me, and surrendering our identity to Jesus. I don't know where that's going to lead. I don't know to whom that's going to bring me into contact with. I don't know 2 steps down the road from now, what that's going to mean. Maybe it's going to mean me identifying with people who I previously would never have identified with because they were the opposing identity, right? But when I surrender my identity to Jesus and I become more than anything else a Christ follower, someone who, as Scripture commands me to do, has died to self. Those old identities are now dead, and the new identity, and the only identity that matters and that drives my life, is my identity as a Christian, someone who follows Jesus. Well, now that identity it frees me from having to worry about, need to control, think about all the consequences, I guess you might say, of who I minister to and who I talk to. Because like Jesus, I no longer care if people associate me with, this group or that group or this person or that person, because Jesus was a friend of many. He was a friend of sinners, and he calls me to do the same. So part of that, consider that this week as my encouragement to you, is that when we give our identity to Jesus, it calls us to leave our home without knowing where we're going, without knowing how this is going to turn out. That's part of the beauty of following Jesus. And again, it frees us from having to make all these decisions, about what if I'm perceived this way? What if I'm misunderstood? You know what? I'm following Jesus. You know what? My identity is with Jesus. And by faith, I'm living this life. And I'm trusting that God's going to lead me to the people that he wants me to minister to. And I do it. And it's an incredibly freeing thing. So that's my encouragement to you this week, is that as you trust your day, your life, your identity to Jesus, also trust him like Abraham to guide you on this journey of to whom might he be sending you today. Where might he be sending you? I don't know, but right now I'm going and I'm following Jesus. So love you. I miss being with you Sunday. I'll be with you this Sunday. So I look forward to seeing you then, and just praying that God is with you. And as we trust him with our identity, we also trust him with our days, right? We don't know still what's happening with this virus. Cases are on the rise. Mask order came out, Monday. Hey, we're trusting the Lord, man. He's in control. And so I'm praying for you just that you'll know and experience God's care and God's trust on your life today, tomorrow, and the next day until we meet again. So love you. God bless you. And I'll see you Sunday.